switch over right now and
Okay.
let's talk about the
Absolutely.
movie and why don't you tell us where it came from, the ideas, and just how it's going and where it's gonna be.
The end of the day, man, we've never seen a wrestling movie written by wrestlers, produced by wrestlers, starring wrestlers, meant for wrestlers. And that was the goal that we set out to do with this. So at the end of the day, too, man, we have the background in film. We have the background in movies, advertising. We're in that side of the business, but we also served as producers for a wrestling movie a couple of years ago. And the thing about it is, it was so Hollywood. It was a good story. It was a good story. But we are wrestlers, man. When we watch a movie, we can tell when a kid steps on the mat. We know wrestlers. We know, and it takes you out of the movie when it doesn't feel real.
Yeah.
And so part of the idea is we thought there needed to be a movie that felt real, that looked like wrestling, that came from the inside. And when Hollywood tries to tell the story, they got all this weird stuff attached. And I'm like, you can tell they've never been to a tournament, because a tournament, I mean, that's a movie right there. Anybody that's ever been to a tournament, you could take the door guy. You could take the coach's room. Come on, man. You've been in the coach's room. That's
Oh
the
yeah.
best entertainment in all of wrestling is the coach's room. So all these things are within there, and we thought those stories weren't being told. So we also thought that there needed to be one, and I'll let Wendy talk about this, is we've had our movies, man, the Mecca. We've had Vision Quest, right? We've had a lot of guys' movies. I'll let Wendy talk about why there needs to be a girls' movie.
So, with the growth of girls wrestling, when TJ said he wanted to do a wrestling movie, I was like, the only way I agree to it is if we do a girls wrestling movie, because there hasn't been one. There isn't that, and I don't even want to say Vision Quest because that movie has not aged well. There are
Themes,
things about that movie.
but yeah, hasn't aged well.
I told him, I said, it's the girls' turn. The girls deserve to have a wrestling movie that they can point to, that they can look at the girls in the movie and go, yeah, they're wrestlers. Yeah, these are the things that I love about wrestling. These are the things we struggle with wrestling. These are the things that we feel about the sport. And that's one of the things is, as we've been working on this, so many of our girls that are in it keep saying, I can't wait to show this to my friends. I bet I could get my friends to wrestle after watching this movie. So we wanted to include the things that make the girls' wrestling experience unique. We wanted all those elements in there. And I told TJ, I said, we need something fresh in wrestling. There's so many boys movies. There's the little scrawny boy that becomes the champion. There's the guy that's got to cut weight to win this or
The
whatever.
alcoholic coach is going to clean himself up and be the
Yeah.
greatest coach in the world. And
So
we've seen it.
there's all those. So if you're going to make a wrestling movie, it's got to be different because it's been done and done and done and done. But you also, girls need a space in wrestling movies. Like the girls needed their turn. So originally, I'm getting my master's in film and script writing, and I wrote this brief pitch for a movie, and it was literally like 1 page long, and I gave it to TJ, and he was like, "Oh my God, we should make this movie." And I was like, "Well, I was like, maybe one day." And so then we got to pitch it to a couple places, and weren't quite interested. They were like, well, I don't know about girls wrestling. Is it really worth making a movie about? Well, what if we changed it to boys? And I'm like, well, if you change it to a boy, it's every other wrestling movie on the planet.
An alcoholic. We're like,
Yeah.
no. I was like, that's been done.
The girl gets pregnant, or what if this? And I'm like,
Let's
no.
positive girl story.
So then we were like, if this is going to happen, we're going to have to do it on our own. We're going to have to write it. We're going to have to do it. And so first we sat down, it took a lot of 5 a.m. nights writing the movie. And the first draft was good. It wasn't bad. It could have been made. But then I started talking to girls, and I started listening on Wrestle Talk and all that, listening to the girls at the collegiate level and Team USA and the Olympics and all that. I started listening to all of them, and I was like, we are missing a whole other
We
side.
told the wrong story.
I was like, there's so many things we're leaving out. Well, then when we started casting the movie, and we made a very conscious effort to cast as many
95%
legit wrestlers.
legit wrestlers in our cast. 95%.
We have two
Two
in the cast. There's only two girls, and they're learning. They're busting butt to learn how to wrestle because they want to be.
He's a 2-time state champ.
So we did our absolute best to get as many wrestlers. What we did is we took wrestlers, and over the past several months, we've been coaching them in acting. They've been studying the script. They've been doing acting drills. So we kind of reverse engineered it. Instead of taking an actor and teaching them to wrestle like normal movies do, we took
dance background, girls that had done show. We looked for performing arts. Oh, we froze for a second. We're coming back. So we tried to recruit girls that had a performing arts background along with the wrestling. So we found champion wrestlers that had also done pageants and dance. Maybe they had done some baton, gymnastics,
show choir, diverse athletes too.
And it's tough because man, in wrestling, he's in then we're in club. So we don't have a lot of time, but some of these athletes found time to do these other things, and they were the perfect pick. And so we've got girls from all across the state. So we've been working with them, like Dr. Wendy said, on the performing arts side.
So from there, once we started writing the script, and we've told our actors all along, if there's things you want to change or things you want us to add in, please tell us. Well, then they started telling us all these other things. We had girls talking about the nasty DMs they get from boys harassing them. We heard from how many of them basically ended up with eating disorders from the cutting weight. And they started sharing all these, the girls that their coaches wouldn't buy girl team gear, so they had to wear boys singlets and things like that because the coach didn't think it was worth it to buy girls gear. Girls that talked about being grabbed inappropriately when wrestling a boy. So there were all these things that me and TJ were like, oh my God, we didn't include any of that. So we went back to the drawing board. More staying up until 5 a.m. nights, but we started putting those stories in too. And the girls were like, oh, we did a read through the other day, and several of our girls, when we got through with different scenes, were in tears. They were like, oh my God, this is everything. They said, you have put everything that we experience and we go through. And they would get through reading a line and they were like, oh my God, I feel like you took the words right out of my mouth, because it's including so many of those things that the girls struggle with. We have the coach that yells at the girl for being 5 pounds over, and she's like, well, coach, I had PMS. He's like, don't care, make weight. So we tried to include as many of those. The harassment from the boys sitting Matt's side, well, you don't deserve to be here, and things like that. And the girls are responding to it, and they keep saying, can I tell my friends about this? Can I tell my friends about this? And I'm like,
not yet.
let's film the movie, and then you can tell the whole world about it.
Things like we were talking to the girls, the actresses' parents, and they're talking about how much support being parents. I'm like, you know what? We've got to include parents in this movie. So we made sure to have wrestling parent characters because they're a big part of our industry. We wanted them to be represented.
And we included the pain in the butt mom that doesn't think there should be girls wrestling and is
it's on the boys team,
you're wasting time on girls wrestling. So we tried to incorporate everything that everybody put into us. We tried to make sure there were places for that in the movie because we didn't want we have the underdog that makes the run to win state. We didn't want that to be the whole story. I mean, yes, our girls win and lose matches in the movie. Yeah. They compete. There's tons of wrestling in the script, but we wanted to make sure there was another layer to the story. And if you dig deeper into it than that, our story centers around a girl that she's just lost her mom, and she goes to live with her dad that didn't know she existed. The mom left before she was born, didn't tell the dad she was pregnant, and her mom dies. So we have a very interesting father-daughter relationship dynamic in there. And on top of that, he's her coach. So you have that father-daughter wrestler, coach, where did those lines bleed over? When are you dad? When are you coach? Because I know with our own son, that was a struggle because, and it was hard for us because our son would come off the mat and we're both in the coach's chair. I couldn't go console him when he lost. I couldn't go tell him great job when he won because the next kid was coming onto the mat. And it's hard to know on that ride home, normally, are you dad or coach?
I screwed up plenty as that.
The first time our son ever went to state, on the way home, I was ready to call it quits. Then I was like,
drive.
you cannot bring that home. When we get home, you have to be dad. You can't be coach at home too, because he's got to have our son. I was like, he's got to have a breather from it. You can't be coach 24/7. So we've included all of that. And I know it sounds like a lot to fit into a movie, but it works.
Frame it in the world of girls wrestling. So we have a comedy. It's very funny. There's a lot of comedy back and forth. Man, have you ever been in a wrestling room? That's a funny place to be, especially right when before you're drilling or something. It's the best jokes you're ever going to hear. And all of our years, from my years wrestling, the years I volunteered, the years that we coached, and then the stories people have brought us, being able to put those elements into the movie. So it is a father-daughter coach relationship movie drama framed in the world of Alabama girls wrestling.
And it's so funny because if you've ever been in the room full of girls before they wrestle, you get a whole lot of that. You've got a million conversations and they're all over the place, and you feel like you're herding cats.
This dad coach for the first time that's coached all these champions, and he's
just like, oh my God, what did he put himself into?
He's got his wall of fame, man. He's done it this way, and he doesn't understand why it's not working. 57 state champ. Why is it not working? Because I've done it 57 times. And so he's having to learn a new process. He's bringing in an assistant that's from outside the industry, and he's bringing in a librarian that is training to become a girls coach. And there's conflict that happens.
Of the things that happened to her in the movie are all the things I went through. So I put as much as I possibly could of me into her character. So she gets the things of, oh, you're not really a coach. Oh, you can't bring in her case, they call her girlfriend, but you can't bring your wife into the coach's room. She should be out there being team mom.
Yeah.
So all those things that I went through, we put so much experience of what we've been through into the movie, which I feel like a lot of the existing wrestling movies go for the Hollywood plot lines instead of putting the things that people really experience on the mat.
We have no drugs, we have no alcohol, we have no bad language, we have no sex, no violence. There's no gang members that are coming in that we always see in the Hollywood movies about wrestling. That's never happened in any of my years of wrestling.
With the heart of gold.
We don't have it. We got regular kids that go out and start a girls wrestling team. There's a boom story right there. All you got to do is
car chase.
There's no car chase. No. Instead, we have girls on the mat. Car chase, but there's girls wrestling on a mat. Imagine that, right? So we have no explosions, but we got girls learning to run a 2-on-1. It's because the stories are there. We experience in the wrestling.
And the funniest part is where we have so many of our girls are state champs, but it's supposed to be a first-year wrestling team. So we're like, you got to make yourself get it.
Your stance is way too good. We got to get your butt in.
Did it badly, and I'm like, okay, you can get better later in the movie, but this first time you look too good.
And now the opportunity, and here is where the world of digital media is today. So when I was in college, and so at University of Alabama, I graduated from film school in 2000. That's what we used to call it back in the day, film school, right? Before I went into media. Back then, you used to have $100,000 to make a movie at what we called an independent level. So when you say an independent film, an indie film, so that means it's not one of the 5 major studios. Well, these days, an indie Christian film can still be a $50 million budget. We don't have that, right? So what we have is what's called a micro budget. But in today's world, number one, if you know what you're doing, and man, we know what we're doing. And if you have the right equipment, you buy the right equipment, you can produce a movie that looks as good out there as anything because the equipment's almost identical. So we're
Yeah.
able to produce a very good looking movie. And because we have the experiences, be able to do it just like Hollywood, but we don't have to have their involvement. We don't have to have their investment. So when we worked on other films, they were hitting everybody up for money. Oh, you know a guy in wrestling? Well, let me go ask him for money. So everybody was always being hit up for money. So we self-funded. So this is 100% self-funded. We don't need anything from anybody. And the great thing with that is we don't have investors trading our message for the integrity of our sport.
Yeah.
And with today's world, and I just wrote an academic paper on this, so I'm telling everybody about this. So major companies like Dick's Sporting Good and Chick-fil-A are launching their own streaming sites. So they know their target audience. Chick-fil-A knows they have families. So they're producing entertainment that's going on the Chick-fil-A website on their own streaming site that is family entertainment. Dick's Sporting Goods is producing sporting stories and documentaries. It's going on their own network. So these days, the digital technology exists for you to be able to self-release, and you're able to go straight to the target audience. So at the end of the day, we know who our target audience is. We have the wrestling community. So we're making a story for the wrestling community to be able to see and share and help grow the sport. So that's the big thing for us, is we know our target audience. So this is an insider movie. Now, will there be maybe some faith-based people that might watch it because it's a clean-cut family movie? Is it a Christian film? No, but are we faith adjacent? I'd say faith adjacent.
There's some faith elements.
We're family
I mean,
friendly. We're family friendly, man.
we
So
would make sure it was a movie that everybody from the little youth wrestlers all the way through, adult parents, we wanted to make sure everybody was going to be okay with it. I mean, we have some little bitties in our
in our
movie.
movie,
You know,
yes,
we have a baby version of Hope,
young
and
hope, and
she's
you,
like 5 years old. I didn't
yeah,
want her parents being uncomfortable with the movie she was in and
Yeah.
things like that. So we wanted to make sure that this would be something that maybe a youth club would show their girls, have movie night or whatever. I wanted to make sure that high schoolers were going to enjoy it because that's the majority of our cast is high schoolers. But we also wanted the parents to be able to enjoy it. That's why we have the teen moms in there, and we have that element to it too, is because we wanted to make sure that not just the kids on the team were represented. Like I said, we have the door worker, we have the refs, we have a little bit of everybody kind of gets their moment to a degree, so that people would feel represented, not just the kids on the mat, which a lot of other wrestling movies do. It's all about the kids on the mat, maybe about the alcoholic coach or whatever. But we wanted to make sure we were making a movie about the wrestling community. Because
Hmm.
let's be honest, this sport, it takes a lot of people to make this sport happen. It's not just two kids on a mat. You've got the coaches and the parents and everybody else. So we wanted to make sure we were making a movie about the whole community and making sure everybody was represented and everybody gets a moment to go, hey, look, there's a team
Yeah.
mom.
yeah. There's,
And you
there's,
you talk about faith-based anyway. Wrestling might be one of the more faith-based sports
Oh,
that,
yeah.
it just there's all kinds of different things. Even within my podcast, one of my segments that I do is wrestling and faith. And I have the girls that are featured, they send me the Bible verse that they like, and I put it on a picture. And that's some of the most commented things I get back is, hey, these have helped me in a situation. So I think that just having
that's
faith
no,
adjacent.
that's knowing your target audience.
on
Yeah.
on Sunday we were running some scenes with our actors, and one of the characters in the movie, she's a very Christian girl, she's very heavy in her faith, and the girl playing her came to me and she said, hey, I have this favorite Bible verse and it's just been on my heart the past few days. Can we put it in the script? And I said, absolutely. And we found a spot in the script to put her favorite Bible verse, because she was like, I just feel like it needs to be in there. She said, I just can't get it out of my head. And I said, absolutely, let's put it in there. And we do. We have them having a team prayer. And if you look in the image,
Yep.
the girl in the movie, she has a cross necklace that her mom gave her. And I actually wear it every day when we're working on the movie. But the cross becomes a huge symbol in the movie. It becomes a symbol of their family. It becomes a symbol of, the connection between the mother and the daughter before she died. And then it also becomes a symbol between the father and the daughter. So it kind of links the family together. And we have those strong faith elements and that element of being lost and the making mistakes and looking for forgiveness and redemption. So we have a lot of that in there. do I think it's something that belongs on, Angel Studios or Up Faith and Family? Probably not. But I think there's enough faith elements in it that a lot of wrestlers will like
If you're a
because
fellowship of Christian athletes, you'll find you'll see the faith message.
yeah.
Yeah.
But if you're not somebody, you're not going to be turned away from it because there's still going to be entertainment in there. And so that's the power of being able to self-release to a target audience and through digital media today is you can bypass that Hollywood model. We can go straight into the homes. So now you're available to stream. You could create the same streaming, whether you're a small business or whether you're a large business, you can use that streaming technology on your website to where people can be able to watch on any smart device, on any television, pull it up on an app, pull it up on their own TV. So instead of a family going and paying $100 to go see a flick at, the local Cineplex, we can have them be able to watch it on their own television and through an app or through a smart device any way they want to do it. So by self-releasing, you're cutting that side of the business out, which is a very expensive side of the business. So we're going direct to our target audience. We know who they are and we know the entertainment they want to see and we know the messaging that they want it real. They don't want it fake. They want something that is their industry and is finally going to come from insiders.
Well, we've worked really hard to keep it as authentic as possible.
We speak wrestling.
Like the other day, I was asking the girls, I was like, "Hey, what do y'all normally do? You wear something under your singlet? Because we want to make sure like we're being respectful and everything's covered and things like that." And I was like, "What do y'all normally wear? Do you wear compression shirts? Do you wear, high cut sports bras? What do you wear?" And one of the girls was talking about compression shirts, and I made a comment something about wearing a longer one or something like that, and she said, "Well, no, the rules state for that it can only be 3/4 sleeve or whatever."
Yep.
And she's like, "I just want to make sure that we're keeping it real." So that's been the really great thing is a lot of our girls have kind of checked us when there's things that we're like, "Oh, well, it's just for the movie or whatever." And they're like, "No, this needs to be legit," and they make sure that we stay very authentic to everything.
And when
so
you run like the state tournament, if you sat down and you go to score that, it's right.
Oh, he meticulously every match in our movie is scored perfectly.
I have checked
The team points when they get to state are perfect. He's looked at all the rule changes to make sure all of that is perfect.
Tell you now. I'll go ahead and tell you now. The state tournament, before we shoot it, the seeds will be released. So you'll be able to go up and
our state tournament will be on track
when the movie comes out, and that's coming out before this season right here. We'll talk about that. When it comes out, you'll be able to go on and follow the brackets. I want to make sure it looks and feels real with that. So all the way down. I even called my rep friends and be like, "Hey, I'm thinking about this idea. Would you call stalling right here? What would you call?" And then sure enough, in NCAA's, what I wrote, it happened in the NCAA tournaments about stalling, and now everybody's talking about going down to one knee and stalling. I'm like, dang, I just wrote that. It's in there. It's legit. And there's just nods to things that if you're a wrestling person, there's names and there's moves and there's things you're like, yeah, that's it right there, man. Mm-hmm. So being able to bring that to the home audience, and what we want to do is give back to the industry. So we're actually going to donate 20% of the proceeds. We're going to donate. So we created a nonprofit, the Girls Wrestling Alliance. We are an official 501c3 nonprofit. And we're going to be donating 20% of the proceeds to the nonprofit with the goal to be able to go out and help girls wrestling. So we want to be able to donate products. So we're working with our sponsor, Yes Athletics. Tremendous. Love Deb. So Deb was a wrestling parent. So she has daughters, and she noticed that there were not products that were out there that were designed by girls for girls wrestling. So she created a product line of singlets, of shoes, of shirts that are female driven. Sports bras. Yeah.
Sports bras. Yes, I know they have a great one actually.
The crisscross back one. Yeah. So Deb has been tremendous, and we're going to feature so many of her products in the movie. And so we want to be able to do things to where we partner with her and bring her products to communities that don't have them. When we've coached at schools, man, if you don't know what it's like to take a headgear off of one kid and put it on another so they can go out on the mat, or you tell a kid, "Hey, you got to go change out of that singlet so we can put that sweaty singlet on another kid," until you've coached that team, you don't know how much of a void there is that we need to get products out there. So that's one of our goals is to be able to use proceeds from the movie to be able to go out and help programs get started. We want to help the Hall of Fame. We're going to donate to the Alabama Hall of Fame. Coach Randy Hott and Coach Billy Hughes, they're Hall of Famers. My coach, Duke Schimento, is a Hall of Famer here in Alabama. They do a great job of buying mats to help programs start. And so we want to be able to donate to that cause. We want to be able to
let them help girls wrestling
girls
too.
wrestling. At the end of the day, we are wrestling people, and we want to be able to use our
And hopefully
skills.
one of these days they start a girls wrestling Hall of Fame, because
Coach Randy.
I'm going to tell you, I'm so happy to be in the state of Iowa when it comes to this stuff, because we have the only state in the union that has two separate, so the High School Athletic Association and the Girls Athletic Union, and so there is a Hall of Fame for girls. Everything is specific to female athletes with the girls union.
That's wonderful.
Well, our girls,
That's my next thing. Now that it's sanctioned, I'm going to start politicking that we get a girls Hall of Fame.
girls that are four-time state champs, that are going to college, that are refs, they're building that Hall of Fame career. There needs to be that path for them.
Oh yeah,
I definitely think so.
They need that recognition
and
too.
So that's the whole idea. Is us. We are insider people, and Coach Randy, I know I've talked about him a lot today, and he says always pay wrestling back. And so one of the things that I realized after my time of volunteering as a head coach in AHSAA is that question of what's next. Because you never disappear. He also says that wrestling's like the mafia. You can't disappear because you know too much. So it's kind of like, what is next? And I do a lot of mic work. I MC a lot of events, but I wanted to do something to give back. This right here is my other skill sets, performing arts, being able to make films, being able to make movies. And these are my other skill sets. And so this is the way that Wendy and I can give back to the community and then build a structure that, we produce a really cool movie, but let's figure out something to where it keeps giving back. And so that's the goal, is that always pay wrestling back. And that's why it's a theme in the movie too, is that idea of let's give back to the community.
That is excellent. That's going to be incredible. I mean, honestly, that whole thing, because I honestly, like you said, headgears, and I'll share this story because it's someone I met at a tournament in North Carolina. Cheryl Baynard is her name. She's high up in USA Wrestling there. Met her at Junior Olympics like 4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago. I'm on Facebook thinking I'm getting just talking to my local group and say, hey, I need some headgear. Anybody got some laying around the closet or whatever? Just met this lady. This is why the wrestling community is so awesome. She messaged me and she said, well, what's your school colors? Just kind of out of the blue. And I said, well, they're orange and black. And she said, well, how many do you think you need? And I said 10. And about 5 minutes later, she said, they'll be there on Thursday.
Oh man,
that's wonderful.
And so she also has a nonprofit. Her son had passed away in Iraq and stuff, and they use it to do the same thing. And so connecting people like yourselves is something that I think is really important to do also. But yeah, the girls wrestling community is amazing. Something that when you were talking about the movie, dad coaches, mom coaches, I have three. On my all of my assistants have had a daughter on our team, and what a hard dynamic that can be. There's many times it was, you go handle her because I can't, and that they're saying that to me. You go take care of her because I can't.
And sometimes you can, as a father coach, sometimes you can tell yourself, you can tell a kid something 3 times, but if you go have another coach, it's like it sinks in. And so there's something about that dad-coach dynamic that we fail. And it's just, there's probably some dads that get it. There's a successful dad, Steve Rocco, man, he's a successful dad coach. He pulled it off. Maybe he should tell the world how he did it.
Well, I'm sure he's failed many times
still
over
never
too.
figured it out. Because all of my friends, including the guy that's playing the head coach, Stuart Holt. So Stuart Holt's a 2-time state champ. He was my teammate. And when I was running around making films in high school, he was the kid that jumped in front of the camera all the time. And he was a theater guy. So here he is coming into this world, and he is a dad. He is a dad wrestling coach. And we have these conversations constantly over, man, what is the best way to coach a kid? What's the best way to coach your kid? And we still haven't figured it out. Because I'll tell him, oh, man, when I coached my son, I screwed this up or this worked. And he's like, well, I tried that. That didn't work with my kid. I'm like, well, I was wrong. I don't know, like Wendy said, it's a very individual sport. So I don't know if there's a methodology, but I do know that we don't talk
The
about
same
it enough.
thing's not going to work on every kid, and that goes for your own kid too. You think you know your own kid so well, and then you get them into something like wrestling, and you learn that you don't know as much as you think you
Yeah.
did,
Yeah.
and it's even being, mom and coach. I think that made it harder for our son because, like I said, one, when we were coaching, if we stopped to congratulate him or whatever, we were told we were showing favoritism. And I'm like, you get to go hug your son after he gets, or daughter, after they get done wrestling. You get to console them when they lose. I don't get that. One, I was being told, well, I can't believe you're spending time with your son or whatever. And then I was getting told that I needed to be paying attention to the mat and not paying attention to my son. And I know for a long time that was hard on him. It was hard on him that he didn't have that support after matches. He didn't have that chance to celebrate. He didn't have that chance to be upset because we had to move on to the next match. And I hated that. I mean, it broke my heart as a parent that I couldn't do that. But as he got older, it's odd. He took, even though he was still on the team, he took on more of a coach's role. And I would see him consoling the younger kids on the team and things like that. So he very much came into his own with it. But for me, that was the most heartbreaking part is you want to go console your kid when they lose. You want to go be there for them. And not being able to do that was really hard.
And if she did, I got told, there we go again. That's why girls shouldn't be coaching.
Oh, she's being too emotional. Oh, she's getting too worked up. Well,
and it's that double standard, man. And it's and that's the tough thing. I think if anything, if the movie creates dialogue, that's what we want. We just want it to create dialogue. We don't
get people
have,
talking about girls wrestling.
It's not a political message. I want you to understand that. It's funny. You're gonna laugh, man. You're gonna because there's some funny moments. Even we read it every day with people. We're laughing, and so if you look. And we're going to we got a new website design coming out, but if you look at what our pitch deck, as you call it, and you look at the movies that we took influence from, it's a lot like writing an academic paper. You take influence and you give credit. So if I was going to give credit, A League of Their Own, which is a very entertaining film about girls baseball, and you know very much there's no crying in baseball. So I think we've got influence from there. Kevin Smith of Jersey Girl. That idea of father-daughter. And we take a lot of influence from Kevin Smith comedies. He was the guy that influenced us in the 90s for independent film. When he produced Clerks, we had never seen a film be made for $27,000, and he won Sundance. And, and us, we're kids in the 90s, so we grew up watching Mallrats. So that back and forth humor, we have those elements with the girls that almost feels Kevin Smith in style of that back and forth nonsense humor, because that's what happens in a wrestling room. 90% of what's talked about in a wrestling room doesn't have anything to do with wrestling. You're like, where did that conversation come from?
And those girls will snap at me, like they'll say something and they're making fun of me half the practice. I put my playlist on. It's bad.
Yeah, and they're speaking this language we don't know, man. This internet talk. So these kids are bringing us language, and I'm like, bet? Like, what does that mean?
You still don't know how to use it.
And I'm at Delulu, and I'm like, okay, yeah, if that's important to you,
vibe check.
Yeah, vibe check, yeah. Aesthetic, okay, it's in there. So it's this language, but it's there. And this is something I was just telling one of our adult actresses the other day. That's one of this place, the female coach, is that it's got to be their crowd, like John Hughes films for us in the 80s, man. Breakfast Club, that spoke our language. So like this movie's got to speak the kids' language because they're the target audience. I think we're going to enjoy it, our age group. We're going to enjoy it, and I do think the parents will. But this is for the kids because that's who we were. We forget that. At one time, we were a young kid that watched Vision Quest, and we were like, man, Frank Jasper as Brian Shute is the coolest guy in the world. And I got to give a big shout out to him. I actually got to him, and I got to announce him coming down the stairs. So black and orange, love it. By the way, my high school is black and orange. The Hoover Bucks from the famous two-a-days. That's where
I think mine was orange and black too. I went to the school in Mobile, but
Frank Jasper, man, such a cool guy. When you meet him, it's like you got to separate the bad guy Brian Shute, right? Because Frank Jasper is so nice. and I got to announce him because our school, Hoover High School, we wrestle a school named Thompson here in Alabama. We call it the Vision Quest Duel. So Frank actually came in, and I got to MC it, and I've gotten to know Frank. And Frank will call me about once a month. He'd be like, Dr. TJ, what's up? And he's so chill. That's what's so crazy is he's such a chill because you expect, like when he calls, I expect Brian Shoot because that's what he says in my phone. And my phone says Brian Shoot. So when he calls, it's like, think you'll make the weight. That's what I'm going to hear. Right? And instead, how's it going, man? How's everything happening? I'm like, oh, Frank, it's going great. And he is trying hard to get it relaunched, man, with the excitement of Cobra Kai.
Yeah, he really wanted like a Netflix series, and we helped him, and
we tried to write some pitches, and some of this is
part of this has elements of the pitch that we wrote for him. But with so many people with the various rights to Vision Quest and stuff like that,
Journey, Sammy Hagar's on that soundtrack. Man, that was just using the kids' terminology. That soundtrack was fire, right? I want to say it was the bomb, but these kids are like, that's fire, right? But it's that I think they all had pieces of it. Madonna was in it, you've got what they call back end points and rights, and Matthew Modine. So Warner Brothers has struggled trying to release, but Frank is still working on it, and we want to be Frank's biggest supporters. So everybody out there, hey, Shoot shirts. Got to go. I wear my Brian Shoot shirt. Giving him a shout out, man. You got to go buy you a Shoot shirt. It's got the log. You got to wear that one. You got yours hanging up. Is that what you're looking for?
I got the poster. Let me go grab
the autograph, man. I got the Brian Shoot autograph. Yeah, so I had to give my man Frank Jasper a shout out right there. Was it shootshirts.com? Is that the shootshirts.com. Give Frank a big shout out.
Yeah, I got the 40th anniversary.
Yeah, we got it, man. We got that one.
Ours is upstairs.
Yeah, we were going to try to bring him into Alabama. Yeah, there it is. We're going to try to bring him into Alabama at some point. It still could be in the works to where we show the movie and do almost like a panel and let him talk about it. He is so on fire about wrestling. He's really big in just talking about healthy nutrition. He does a great job of talking to kids about that. He's just a wonderful asset to our community. And so we were, he gave us a lot of motivation for us to get going with our project. So there, that's what's fun is there's people in wrestling that you can connect to in media. There's people that connect to in film. There's people that connect to in technique. We have what I call the best community in the entire world.
Oh yeah, definitely for sure. It's funny you bring up Shoot. We talked on the phone. I've done an interview with Shoot also, and then it would have been about it's probably 5 years ago. I had called him and said, "Hey, we're doing a Christmas party with the girls. Would you be willing to do a little message?" And yeah, he did it just quick, sent it out. The girls loved it. I showed some of the coaches in the area, and they're like, "How do you do this stuff?" They're just like amazed, because
and Frank's cool like that, man. He'll give you a shout out to your team, and he does a lot of just public events. He'll come out to clubs. He'll partner with somebody that'll come in and run a technique weekend.
Came and did that thing when y'all did the Hoover versus Thompson.
He carried the log down the stairs.
Things. His high school was Hoover, and one of their rival schools is Thompson. So he came in for the match.
Man, it was fun. People had a blast when you see him walking down the bleachers with that log. It's just everybody. It's one of the most iconic 80s movies, and when you see that, and when I was on the mic, like the 13-year-old in me is like, I'm announcing Brian Shoot. It's like here I am, and Frank Jasper, the actor that played Brian Shoot in the 1985 hit Vision Quest, and I'm working it, but the little kid in me is jumping up and down. Now I'm trying not to break my announcer voice.
And you got to tell me, this is probably the Hollywood movie part of it. There is absolutely no way Shoot lost.
No way. But you know what? I never understood the score. I've watched it. Why do they go out of bounds in neutral and then Loudon's down and then they score the 2? I never understood that part. I've had to rewind 1,000 times. And my only thing is, well, maybe in the 80s in Spokane it was different. And that's the only thing I know about Spokane, Washington. I'm from Alabama. Oh man, we went to go see Journey. We saw Journey live, and this is with Arnell, not Steve Perry, but still, it was awesome when they played "Only the Young." I just shut my eyes for a second. That's the Vision Quest soundtrack. If you just absorb that energy, you hear that live,
Oh, for sure.
But, he doesn't lose to. I mean, look at it. Shoot lost to McLean. Come on. I mean, not Shoot. Shoot took McLean for a fall, but Loudon lost to Lewis Smith from Columbia. How do you lose to that guy with the nosebleed? Come on.
Oh my God.
Can't hold your mud,
Yeah,
right?
no, it just
But
that's the Hollywood side. That's why your movie's gonna
we
be better.
want those moments for the girls, right? And we've got it, man. Cassidy Worthington. Go ahead and give you a name. Cassidy Worthington.
Oh, she's the bad girl.
That's the Regina George from Mean Girls. If you took Regina George and you took Brian Shute and you just put her with that Ronda Rousey attitude, just that baddest girl on the planet, knows she's the best, the
There's
best
no way she could lose.
And in this world today, right? Here's the world. She comes off the mat and she's got that phone. And she live streams and she lets the world know what she just did right into the phone. It's kind of like WWE, man. They come off the mat and they've got that mic and they start trash talking. Well, now you got the girls, they come off the mat and they're doing it on that
But they
live
do it
stream.
real. We have a girl that's in the movie, and that's why we put that in there, that she was talking about a girl. She said she actually won the match, but the girl edited the video so it looked like she lost and put it on TikTok, and people started making fun of her. She's like, I actually won the match. But this girl edited it and put it.
Issues in their cyberbullying that comes up. We all post videos of our kid. Oh, look at my kid. He's pinning. But we don't ever think about the kid getting pinned. And sometimes the comments, and this is what's tough as adults, man. We get so wrapped in and we're so competitive. So I rip their head off, but that's somebody's kid, man. And sometimes you're on the winning end. Sometimes you're on the losing end. Sometimes when you read the comments, you don't think about
like, those are still kids.
Those are still kids. And we talk about, Dr. Wendy talks about girls internalizing. There's a whole nother level. When you and I wrestled, you got beat and maybe your teammate made fun of you, right? That's it. It was over. Right? Maybe somebody at the next tournament, you got pinned, whatever.
But when you put these videos on social media, they live another life. And
years.
Some of these girls, they get so wrapped into the comments people make on them.
Comments.
A vision.
Comments about how they look physically, about how they wrestled. So we talk about this extra dynamic in today's world, this social media world that we're in. That's a whole nother level that you and I know nothing about.
No.
Because we don't know what it's like, to come home and lose a match like that.
Yeah, we got bullied at school. Everybody does. Middle school's a horrible time, right?
Oh yeah.
But you got to go home, and you didn't have this 24/7. You didn't wake up at 3 a.m. and see 100 new comments about.
Oh yeah, what a fish! You got pinned in a headlock.
Yeah.
You don't.
Yeah.
Which hey, how about that headlock this past weekend at Nationals?
Oh, yeah.
Never works, right? Never works. Yeah, I love it. I love it. Coaches repeat these things. A cement mixer, Gator roll never works. And then you see Ramos get that pin, get the pin a couple years ago, right?
I go back to the NCAA finals with Cadwell and Metcalf. Tell me headlocks don't work. Metcalf is not wasn't a national champion. Which everybody
what
thought
my
he would
coach
be.
used to say is the move that works is the move that just worked. And that's the most popular move, is the move that works. I mean, sometimes that's it, and it's and as I look at the movie and I start thinking about that, we have those themes because we came from the inside. We wrote it from a place on the inside that as a wrestler, you're like, yeah, I know what they're talking about. Hey, I know what match they're talking about right now, inside or not.
When we first wrote it, we kept it very industry standard script format. Everything was right to a T. But then we realized none of the wrestling was actually described in it. It was all just dialogue and all that.
Movie format.
So then I told TJ, I said, we've got to know what wrestling is going where. So now if you go to ours, it'll be dialogue, half a page describing a wrestling match, dialogue. And then when you get to state, it's like 20 extra pages because it's nothing but describing the wrestling.
Here's what we're going to do different than everybody else that's ever filmed wrestling. And me being a media guy, man, for the past 10 years that I've been out there helping clubs and volunteering, I've been taking that camera into wrestling rooms and I've been filming. And I've had a camera in my hand since I was 13 years old. And I filmed all my stuff.
Getting smaller.
Yeah, they keep getting smaller. I mean, I was here back in high school and I would film. When I wasn't wrestling, I was filming all my teammates. I have very few films of me wrestling because my teammates never picked up the camera to film me. I've got like 3 matches. So I've been filming wrestling my entire life. And I love getting on the mat. And because I'm a wrestler, I can feel it. And I can look and I can see the weight shifts. And I'll shift with them. So as they circle, I circle. Right?
Well,
and as they set up, I set up. So I'm moving. I'm doing it now. I'm moving with them through the shots.
Well, not just that. He even had each of our girls that is on the we keep calling it the main roster, the main team in the movie. He had each of the girls send him videos of their matches so he could see their wrestling style before he looked at what they would do in the matches in the movie.
Just like I had a kid that was going to wrestle them. So I deconstructed their matches.
Now
the negatives, the whole 9 yards.
The funny part is our girls don't quite get how a movie is going to be made, so they don't realize like they may actually only be doing a chain of maybe 2 or 3 moves. We're not filming entire 6-minute matches. They're like, but wait, how do I win the match? And we're like, you may only, roll somebody and get the pin, and that may be all we see.
It may be set up, high crotch, chicken. And then we cut to the next match. It may be in a montage, so it's not like you see the full 6-minute match all the time.
And the funniest part is when we were first casting, we were getting calls from parents that wanted their kid to be in the movie. Oh, you have to have my kid. You have to have my kid. Well, the parents were like, well, my daughter can't lose in the movie. She's a state champ. And we're like, he's going to destroy her ranking. I'm like,
if she just 2 matches, that could hurt her stars on track. I'm like, no, it's not real.
Her character
is going to lose. But the reality, when you hear me talk on TikTok and I said the wrestling is going to be real, when I say that statement, it's a lot like drilling. If you and I were drilling, I'm like, hey man, I want to work. I want you to pressure in. And when you pressure in, I'm going to go from here. I want to feel this. Let's change levels a little bit. So I'm going to give you as a practice partner, and you're going to work as a good practice partner with me to where you're going to give me those feels and you're going to give me a couple other things and I got to react to it. So that's kind of what we're going to do. So if you think about like WWE, they know the finish, right?
Yep.
We're going to be the same way. I know the finish, right?
They're still going to wrestle, but they know what
and the ref's going to cue you when it's going to be. They're going to tell you go home. The ref's going to tell you when it's going to be. But I want it on the left side of the mat, and here's the finish. But I want, I want red pressuring in on green, and I want you to go live. And I can tell you green's going to shoot a high crotch, but I want you to use whatever setup you want, and I want you to use whatever finish you want. I want red to belly out, and I want you to fight it, but the finish is going to be an inside cradle. Go. So now we're working it. That's a lot more legit. Now, if I take 2 actors, right, and they're coming out there, with their elbows wide. Every Hollywood movie wrestler, they got their elbows wide. They're in a bad stance, and we're just watching at home, right? But if I got 2 legit wrestlers, I can give them that scenario. They could go out and do it right now. And I'm like, all right, from refs, I want, I'm going to want armpit drive, and I want you to break them down. Let's run a wing and a half. All right, and so bottom, I want you to resist where you can. Ref's going to warn about the wing, and let's run it. Let's go through the pin. Oh, yeah, my people are going, they're going. Look, you're following me. You're running that in your head. I see the gears turning, right? So same thing.
And that's the good thing about having these girls that can wrestle is we don't have to teach them, how to go line up, how to shake hands after a match, how the ref hand raises.
That wasn't even in my brain. And when I was first writing it, is how much protocol we have in a match. When we step on, when we go to the line, when we're putting ankle bands on, when we're shaking hands after a match, crisscrossing, the respect to the sport, shaking coach's hands.
We're going to have legit refs, so they're going to be able to make the calls.
Because when we worked on another movie, they didn't have legit refs.
They didn't have legit refs.
Giving the hand signals and no credibility. It's got to. We do things wrestlers know. So that's going to be the biggest thing. Is when I say the wrestling is going to be real. Is when you watch it, you're like, that looks like wrestling. They feel like the ref is reffing it correctly. The score people are doing correct. Everything feels real. It's the world of our sport.
Yeah,
and that's important to me.
With the officials, right hand signals, calling things the right way. I hang out with a lot of officials, and man, they are just sticklers on. Well, you did your count was too fast. Your hand signals got to be. You can't double point. All these things, these little tiny details that, as a coach, I never knew, but then you start talking to officials and you're like, oh, wow, you guys are
man,
crazy.
I'm following those 2 refs on TikTok that are doing a tremendous job right now. I wish I knew their name. I'd give them a shout out. But I'm following them right now, and they're talking about
the little guy in glasses.
Oh, man, he's entertaining, and he's breaking down rules. And, he was breaking down, you were talking about the new weight for girls, that they're at 19% for the minimum, which is huge support. I love that change. That's going to be
I think it's great.
Yeah,
You know, I
especially.
actually posted about that the other day, and oh
Did
my
you really?
God, the parents went ballistic on that
Yep.
because they're like, my kids go naturally under that. Well, you're in luck
Well,
because
then you
they
can't
put
drop. It
that
just means
they
you can't
put that in
drop.
there. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's there. And we actually had this discussion. I work with a nutrition Econ Nutrition out of Des Moines area, and they do all of the not all of, but they do a lot of the top colleges in the state of Iowa, and they had over 100 state qualifiers in high school the last 2 years under their nutrition plans. And we talked about the 19%, and or actually we were talking about 12%, and that's actually dangerous. You know,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
at levels where girls are not having their cycles, and you do
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
for too long, and that causes adverse effects later in life. And these
Yep.
are possibilities of not having children later on, and you're doing this
Yep.
because you want to cut weight for a match.
Yeah.
Shut up. And
Yeah.
I had dads and moms, and they were just not happy about this rule
And it's
change.
just
When
There's several female collegiate wrestlers and Team USA and all that that I've seen on TikTok that said to this day they've still never had a cycle because they've always cut
yeah,
weight and they've never had it. And I mean, we all look at the fact, oh, they may not have kids, but there's so many things hormonal and development wise
oh,
and bone density and so many things for girls that, like I was telling TJ, that's another thing that they don't look at is it's not healthy for anybody to cut drastic amounts of weight, but for a girl there are so many things health wise that it can jeopardize long term, not to mention where the things, I mean, kidney damage and all those things that kids can experience because of that, boys or girls. But hormonal health and female health, there are so many things that can be impacted throughout their life. And so I fully support this 19%
yeah.
because technically that's the minimum to ensure that a girl still has her cycle and things like that. So I'm in full
It's
support of
these
that.
uncomfortable conversations we got to have.
oh yeah,
And we don't know how to discuss this. And this is why we need female leadership to bring this in
Oh yeah.
and to bring us into the next growth of wrestling because we've got to evolve our sport. There are things in nutrition and fitness we've got to move past and it's almost like a hidden history. We're proud of the days we spent in sauna suits. We're proud of, oh,
oh
I
yeah,
lost 17 pounds in 2 days,
I mean, not to get super uncomfortable, but you had that incident, I think it was a few months ago, where the girl started her period during a match and they didn't know whether to call it blood time or not.
Oh, yeah.
But things like that have to be addressed. I mean,
yeah.
if you're gonna have girls on the mat,
Because I still don't
things
know.
are gonna happen,
Yeah.
I've had it happen,
Um,
and it was actually fantastic. It happened down in Florida at the Scholastic Duels, uh, but the official was great. The other team was great. We found another singlet really quickly.
yeah,
They didn't roll in time at all. They just went.
yeah,
And I know it wasn't a high school match. I'm not sure how you'd handle it. I'm guessing I always carry extra singlets and all that too. But
yeah, we did too.
yeah,
Well,
you're right.
that's something.
Those
And,
things need to be
and
addressed.
my girls, they knew if they needed anything. I had a bag that I brought to every match, and they didn't even have to ask me. If they needed
Yeah.
something, they knew they could go in my bag and get it. And that's one of the benefits. I mean, even where we practiced, they knew there was a box in the bathroom. And if there was anything they needed, there were extra gym shorts in there. There was any products they needed. And I told TJ, I said, a lot of girls are not going to be comfortable going up to their male coach and saying, hey, I'm having this problem. I need to, whatever. And we had one girl one day that she got so sick when she would start her cycle or whatever. And she didn't want to tell TJ that, she was throwing up and she had cramps and she needed to go home because she was so sick from it. But she was comfortable coming up to me. So that's another reason why I feel like it's important to get women into wrestling rooms for the comfort of these girls too. Like I said, there's just things girls deal with that boys don't.
And
Oh
look at
yeah.
like once again, giving Deb a shout out at Yes Athletics. She's got those new singlets
Oh yeah,
that are
she's got
period
the
protection
period
singlets.
protection
I mean,
singlet.
that's an innovation that I mean, shout out to Deb for doing that because if I was still coaching my team, we would have a set of those for the
Yeah,
girls. I mean,
I would be ordering those as their singlets. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Well, yeah, it is important to have female representation. A lot of different reasons, not just for that. Uh, it's really important to have someone that looks like you so you know what I want to be a coach. Well, they don't
Yeah.
want to be a fat old guy with a beard, you know? I mean,
Yeah. Yeah. I know
I
that.
don't want to say not all of them, maybe some of them, but not all of them want that. So having
Yeah.
a female coach and having a female official, it leads the sport in that right direction.
Yeah.
But also as male coaches, we also have to get more comfortable with those conversations too,
We do.
Yep.
because
And it's an
I
evolution of the sport,
yeah.
man. That's what it is.
Yep.
I don't know how
And
many coaches said, "Well, I don't want to have that undergarment talk," and I'm old and I don't care anymore. So I talk
we
about it. I
we
talk
have
about
it
it.
in the movie. So we
Yeah,
have that talk in the
because I've sat on the mat with a girl that didn't have proper coverings underneath, and I see the boys lined up, and this is when it was middle school, and this poor girl, and I had to talk to her after that. And was that a hard conversation for me? Sure was, but it's important that we have those conversations. I don't know how many high school coaches. Well, I'm not going to talk about bras. Why the hell not? Don't you have I mean, you have a wife at home. Would you
hey
talk? You have
coach,
a
just mean
daughter
I
at
can't
home.
wear my pink thong.
Yeah,
You can't
exactly.
make
No.
stuff up. That's what's so bad is everything is
She went out to the mat one time. She had a lime green, like Victoria's Secret bra with underwire that she went to go out and wrestle in. And the ref came over to me. He said, I know this is weird. And I don't know how to approach this, but she can't wear that bra.
Yeah. No, I've seen it in a match also the with the metal
Yep.
any metal on the
yeah.
Yeah.
and by rule they can't wrestle with that. That's the safety of the other
Mm-mm.
athlete.
And
So
that
Yep.
they've had to leave. You have
yeah.
a minute and a half, otherwise you lose the match.
Yep.
So
And that's
we
what
have
Wendy
those
used to have
conversations.
to. You remember when we were still girls and boys, Wendy used to have to be the weigh-in coordinator. And they would take the
Mhm.
girls. You remember that? You'd have to go into that different locker room, and she'd have to do the bra check, the underwear check, and weigh girls in. And then she'd have to go report it to the refs and bring the sheet back
Yeah,
in.
I'd have to bring the sheet back out to give it to them because
So
they were like, I'm not going in a locker room with a bunch of
Yeah.
girls.
the rules changed, and we were going to all weigh in singlets. And me being a traditionalist, I'm like, oh, come on. I was like, that's horrible. And then, but when I saw it, I'm like, oh, well, that makes sense. Now,
Yeah.
now everybody can weigh in. So I think a lot of times we resist change because we love the way the sport was. Kind of like the slam rule. Think about how many of us were mad about the slam rule, but now we're like, hey, that's really good for health. We're not seeing as many concussions. And but when the slam rule first came out, we're like, oh, that's wrestling. Come on. It's
Yeah.
I think our initial response to change is we hate it. And
Well,
it's
it's a lot of that. Well, this is how we've always
just done
done
it.
it.
And it's that stepping in.
I mean, there doesn't need to be changes.
So that's why there's so many messages that we have to create dialogue through entertainment. And there's a lot of great documentaries and things out there, but there's something different when it comes to entertainment because we can laugh at it and we can learn. And so
Yeah.
that's our entire goal is we want to entertain wrestling families. And we hope that they enjoy our approach to it. So everybody keeps asking, when's it coming out? So our
Yeah.
goal is to have everything out right here by the season. So that's my goal. So you're looking at the entire production process
And film this
right
summer.
here at WJTZ Media. So we've been doing all the pre-production. We start filming in 2 weeks, and we've got an incredible cast that is making commitments to their life. Man, they're working. Everybody's got full-time jobs in school, so everybody's doing this in the evening.
And club and tournaments.
And tournament. Some of our girls are on Team
That's
Alabama.
been
Yeah.
a unique struggle.
All these people, we're trying to go around. The big shout out to the tournament truck that's doing our mats. Ben is fabulous, amazing. So he's got tournaments every weekend for off season. So we've got our actresses that sometimes they can't make the tournament, or they're going to Swamp Donkey tournament. I love that name, but they can't go to the other one, right? So we've got people making commitments to be able to film, and then we've got Movie State. Everybody across the country, you are invited to Movie State if you want to come. June 12th and 13th, Brookwood High School, our partner in Alabama. Brookwood has been amazing. So they're allowing us to use their school, their wrestling room, their gym. Coach Ivan Bailey over there has been one of the big supporters
they've been
of girls
amazing.
wrestling for years.
They've been amazing.
Coach Bailey helped us out a lot when Dr. Wendy was working on girls wrestling. So to be able to partner with Brookwood High School, I can't talk about how great they are, but we're going to hold Movie State a lot like we did the first time hosting the very first girls state. We're bringing that energy, man. We're going to have the mats lined with pink LEDs. We're going to have it all lit up. We're going to have a blast.
What we're also going to do that day, since a lot of girls are giving up going to other tournaments to come to Movie State, we are going to have other mats set up in the gym, and we're going to have refs there so that when they're not being filmed, if they want to grab somebody that's there, they can go out on one of the other matches and they can get a match while we're filming somewhere else.
Warzone style, right?
Yeah, that's great.
So make sure they get
we're
to
going
do
to have
that.
QR code, so it's kind of like, treat your server nice. So you hit that QR code to pay your ref, go out and get a match. And so so we're going to have some real matches going on. Plus, as we're going to be filming on 2 mats, but we got 4. So we want legit going on around us. So I kind of want the matches going on for real behind us while we're filming over here. Because if we got the angle, now you're seeing a legit match happen in the background. And even if they're not in action, I want it to look like wrestling. So that's the big thing is when you watch this, I want it to look and feel like a state tournament and go, yeah, that could be, I could see where that would be Alabama state tournament. We had at our very first girls state, 78 girls. Not that's probably nothing to Iowa, but that was a big accomplishment for Alabama.
Yeah.
And so if we have something that looks comparable to that and that energy and that action, even within our filming, we want it to look and feel real. The details matter in what we're doing. So we invite everybody. I'm going to, like I said, I'm making a new website. I'm going to put a sign up form. If you want to come wrestle, I don't care what state you're in. You want to drive into Alabama, you want to come wrestle that weekend, give one more shout out, man. We got the state games. You don't have to be from Alabama. You can hop on a team. Griff has got it to where state games of Alabama, they're going to have a team event. And I think they've got Greco and freestyle happening on the Sunday. So you can actually get 3 days of wrestling right here in Birmingham, Alabama. So just give us a shout out, man. You can find us on Instagram. So we're Wrestling for Hope Movie on Instagram, Wrestling for Hope Movie on TikTok, Wrestling for Hope Movie on Facebook. You can follow us, WrestlingForHopeMovie.com. Now, it's real easy. And then we got a couple of hashtags, obviously Wrestling for Hope and hashtag Yes to the Mat. Gotta plug this one, man, because our partner, Yes Athletics. So hashtag Yes to the Mat. We want real wrestling stories. So we got our girls, hashtag Yes to the Mat. They're telling us, why did they say yes to girls wrestling? So
and we got some great stories.
Real stories out there. Guys, if you supported girls wrestling, hashtag Yes to the Mat. Why did you choose to support girls wrestling? Because we want the real stories to be represented. And that's part of some of the things that we're doing of increasing the dialogue. Let's give all the stories by hashtagging it Yes to the Mat. They're all in one place. Somebody can go in there and look at it and just watch for hours the true story. So we want people from all over the country. Share your story. Why did you say hashtag Yes to the Mat?
That's great. That's great. I'll share that also. And we'll I have 2 years worth of interviews of Yes to the Mat,
That's wonderful.
Yeah, man, just a minute. People could take that cell phone, turn it around and be like, yeah, let me tell you about why I said hashtag Yes to the Mat, or let me tell you why I support girls wrestling, hashtag Yes to the Mat.
See, look how hip he is. He's even got the angle right.
We had one of our friends who used to be on Food Network. We got to do some choreography on Food Network. He taught me that. He told me, he's like, because guy, get this right here. Up into the 45, Scott Wedgeworth, that was Bama Glamma on Food Network. He taught me that technique,
Nice. Oh, no, that's fantastic. I think I love everything about this. I'm excited about the story. I'm excited about it coming out. Definitely want to give you as much publicity around here as I can, because it's not just an Alabama story. It's a nationwide story. And all these things, a lot of these things that we've talked about, they happen. You said 70 for your first state tournament. We went just a little bit different direction. Our coaches association started the girls wrestling. They did a few meets and then did it in a high school gym for the first couple of years. And our first one, huge snowstorm. I know you don't have those, but it was probably, I can't remember the number of inches we had, but so it went from having around 100 and probably 120 to 30 girls at our first state tournament to right around that 70, 80 girls. So similar stories.
Yeah, we did it in 48 hours. Everybody showed up. And literally, buses were pulling up to Hoover High School. Big shout out to my alma mater, Hoover High School. And you never hear this. You never hear this. They moved a basketball game. You got to love it when we step on basketball. Because what's the
That's right.
greatest thing in a basketball gym? What is it when we got wrestling mats, floor to floor in them, and
For
that's
four,
it.
yeah, you
So
bet.
that's it, floor to floor wrestling mats. So that was the greatest thing. So Hoover did us a big favor. Instead of giving us the morning time, because they're like, "Hey, what time's the tournament going to end?" I'm like, "Yeah, like we know that." So
Yeah.
we moved. So they moved the basketball game to the morning, and we were able to have the mats down for the afternoon into the evening. And it just the buses pulled in, the state, everybody, the teams, the coaches, everybody jumped on, got their checks in, and it came together. And I think that's why it felt so cool, is because nobody knew what to expect out of a girls' state tournament. And it
Yeah.
just, that energy, and we've never seen that energy ever again. It's just
Not like
unmatched
that.
because it was just different.
Yeah. I'm gonna try to find you and send you
That's what
some
we say
clips
about the
of,
sport, man. Girls wrestling,
yeah.
it's just
It's
different.
it's different. I'm gonna try to
Now,
send you
ours
some
are up there
clips
on
of,
YouTube. Yeah.
yeah. I want to send you some clips of like the Iowa high school girls state, the girls our state tournament, just to give you an idea of the what I I brag up the Iowa Girls Athletic Union a lot because they do things right. It is an amazing tournament. We pack in. It's not a huge arena, but Extreme Arena it's built in Iowa City, so kind of one of those mecca places for wrestling. Uh, Sold it out the last 3 years. It's about a 6,000 person venue. It's crazy. It's a fun weekend, and I love just to let you see some of that. But yeah, no, I'm
And,
excited for the
and
movie.
our HSA, I do got to give them a shout out. It's Yeah, HSA, they do a good job. Von Braun Center, they've got all the boys and girls together. It's good. I got to give them props.
Yep.
It is certainly building and looking better, but where it is all in one
But
smushed.
we looked cooler.
Yeah, it was fun when it was just the girls, but now I see the value in having the girls and guys together. It's not that I don't, but I do miss, man, it was just a cool feel when it was just the girls in that gym.
Yeah. No, I originally, we talked about putting the mats down, side by side too, and it didn't have the feel, right? So that's why I went with our own separate tournament, and I'm glad we did. Next year we're doing dual tournament too, state duals. So that's kind of
Oh
that's
man,
a
that's cool. That's
yeah.
really
That's
cool.
awesome.
How many classes does Alabama have?
Oh man, you just hit the hot button because they just redivided. So
Okay.
now they took away 7A. So we've got 6A, we've got 5A, we've got 1 through 4A, and now the private schools are going to be separated.
Okay.
And I'm in full support of that. And this is where the state hates me when I put on the message board. Once again, I'm a fan of reducing to grow. So, as somebody that coached at a private school for
A
6 years,
small
I
private
see
school.
the opportunity in that. So, we can complain or we can look at the opportunity. The opportunity is now we can call private schools that don't have wrestling and go, okay, you're only going to compete against other private schools. What can we do to help you start a team? Because there's
Yeah.
private schools, there's some that are like, hey, I don't want to compete against the 6As. And we see states like California that have one state tournament, and I understand the argument, the ultimate champion. But I've
Yeah.
never seen a college turn away a scholarship because their state was divided. And
Yeah.
so I
No,
don't
you're
get that argument.
And if you are in a place that sees economic differences, like I said, I'm in the northwest Iowa corner of Iowa, very sparse, populated. When you talk about Des Moines East is where our population is, and the tax bases are much higher. The opportunities just there's more opportunity. There's
Sure.
more. The schools are bigger. The you go into some of those larger schools, and it's like, wow, I'm in a D1 school now. I mean, that's what it looks like because they have the
And
training
that's what I
facilities.
graduated from. They call it the Hoover U. I mean, it could be a small D2 school easily. And
They
that,
got what, 3,000 students at that high school? I
oh,
mean,
yeah,
it's insane.
it's more than that. And so when you look at a small private school, I see opportunity. If they separated it out, then it's our goal as wrestlers to not complain and go grow those private schools.
Yep.
Why aren't
Yeah.
we calling the private schools that don't have teams and trying to start them? But why are we going to sit back and complain about what the state did instead of trying to grow? Because what if we started enough of those private schools to where it works?
Yeah.
It's on us. We're the wrestlers. We should try to make it work. That's what we do.
So do your girls wrestle that many separate classes? Do you have the numbers to
They
do
they do
that many?
now.
They do.
Yeah,
They do
so it
now. Okay.
was they do now. Yeah, and so it was that 5A and 6A were what was it? 6A and
Well,
7
it was
combined. It
everybody
was six, yeah,
together.
originally it was everybody. Then it was 6A, 7A combined, and then it was 1 through 5A combined. So now we get rid of 7A, we have 6A, and then I think we're gonna have 5A separate, then 1 through 4A separate, and private school. And so
Gotcha.
everybody's complaining just like they were when we were sanctioning. There's not going to be enough matches. There's not going to be
Enough
everybody that's going to
competition.
go to sectionals will make it to state. Yeah, it might be that this year. But let's, as wrestlers, we do the impossible. So the goal, we should get on the phone and call those schools and start programs. And I think it's lazy of us that if we don't make those phone calls and all we do is complain on a Facebook group, then we're not doing the outreach that our sport deserves. This sport gave us stuff. We should be willing to make the phone calls and get back.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. We've gone to we started one class, qualified 32 for state, split it to two classes, 16 now from each class so same numbers qualify. Um, they divided that was we have 220-ish schools that represent wrestling. And so the top 80 schools are the large school, and then after that, and after probably the first 10 or so, nobody has full teams, in the smaller
Yeah.
class. So
I mean,
it's
but
just we're
we
not.
saw that in the boys, but we saw that in the
Yeah,
boys too. We would in the boys
yeah,
division, we had a very good team, but we would forfeit, 3 to 4 weight classes
yeah.
depending on
Yeah.
the night. That's just average. That
That's
doesn't mean
reality.
yeah, it doesn't
Yeah.
mean it's not good wrestling, and it doesn't
No,
mean you
yeah.
shouldn't have a team or they should have to compete against the big schools. Once again, sometimes you have to shrink to grow. It's all in business theory, and we could either meet the challenge and grow, or we could complain about it. And so many of us take the route of let's complain on Facebook instead of calling a school and going, hey, here's the easy words. How can I help?
Well, in wrestling, we've done such a poor job anyway of marketing ourselves. We,
Yeah,
we like to tell everybody that we're the toughest sport and it's important to be on all these things that we grew up thinking, but really, a lot of people have only focused on the top one tenth of these people. So
yeah.
we worry about our 15 or 16 state qualifiers and our state champions and everybody else. There's not opportunities for those that, if you look at let's look at volleyball. The growth of volleyball has been insane because they get teams and levels for every kid to play volleyball that wants to play volleyball. I'll take, for instance, I talked about AAU. We got kicked out of the Orange County Convention Center because volleyball took over for an entire month. They have 40,000 kids come in and play
They got
volleyball.
a bigger fan base than we do.
Yeah, it's
But
huge.
that's
So, it's crazy.
there we go. That's why we
Yeah.
got to support things that are growing wrestling. Every one of us should be watching RAF. They're putting it on a television network. We should all be watching and
Yep.
supporting. We got to go to the tournaments. We got to buy the ticket, work the desk. We should be supporting our sport.
Yeah, for sure. And I think the more that we focus on development of the sport and all those different levels and finding opportunities for those kids to wrestle at, it's no fun to go get beat every weekend by the top kids. So make two divisions. It's okay. It's all right.
Yeah.
It grows the sport.
And the word of mouth in the school, when a kid comes back to a small school and he's got a medal on, you grow that kid goes, I want that medal. Right.
Yep.
So that's what I always try to tell people. In a small school, when we saw people have success, then other people were like, hey, I want to do that too. And it happens with the girls and the guys.
Yeah. Well, I think I got about 2 hours and 15 minutes worth of
Man, we
conversation.
could talk wrestling another 3 hours. We could do it.
I know we could, but I have editing to do now.
Yeah. But man, what an honor to be
Good
able to
luck
talk.
editing them down.
What an honor to talk Alabama to Iowa. Man, I just thank you so much. And we look at so much of what your state does for leadership. You guys guide our country. So we appreciate that. And we love cheering y'all on, and we love the college teams.
Yeah, no, I hopefully this isn't our last conversation. I'm sure it won't be. I think
Oh man, when we get this thing made, let's do it again. And we can tell
Yeah.
you all the stories of what it was like to make it. We will
I
do
think
it again.
I think that's fantastic. Yeah, give me as much information as you can. I'll start plugging it right now. Typically, when I do
Absolutely.
my I kind of feature somebody for depends on this is going to be an awful large podcast. It's going to be a couple hours long, so it'll probably be a one week of just plugging this. When I do the smaller interviews where it's a couple high school girls in a week, I'll give them 2.5 days apiece and give them 4 posts a day, so they really
Oh
feel
man,
special for that.
we'll
But
chop this thing up. We'll share it across every piece of our social media, and our entire network will have them sharing it too.
that's fantastic. I will share the full video with you, and you can do what you want with it too. And then
Oh, awesome.
I
Yeah.
use
Yeah, we'll
yeah
put it up on all of our stuff. We'll put it
I
up on the
use
website.
I use a couple different programs to clip things because it's much easier for than trying to have me figure it out and working another full-time job and all the stuff I do. So, but no, I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thank you for everything you've done for growing the sport of girls wrestling, because that's what we're really about. You know,
Well, thank
it's
you for having us.
Yeah, man.
We've enjoyed this.
And let's network. If there's ever anything that y'all need two PhDs, sometimes with states and things or
yeah,
colleges, sometimes that carries some weight, and you got two of them in your back pocket.
that's awesome. Thank you so much. I
We're here
appreciate
for
you.
anything you ever
Yeah.
need.
All right, you guys have a great
All right,
day, and
thank you.
I will
You
talk
too.
this. I will talk to you soon.
All right, thank
Awesome.
you.
Thank